What's going on, everybody? It's your observant lineman here, Uche Nwaneri. Got a big story brewing in the NFL, obviously. The situation with vaccination in the NFL has become a huge talking point today because of the new rules that the NFL's actually put out in order to incentivize its players to be vaccinated. Now, we're going to take a look at some of the social media tweets that have come out that are kind of explaining how this whole situation is unfolding. And then from there, I'll give you guys my thoughts. Full disclosure, as many of you who have seen my live streams know, I have gotten my first shot for a vaccination. So I have my own personal story about it. But, I'm going to just give you guys the info, let you guys hear what exactly is being done. And then from there, we go a little bit further and I'll give you guys my thoughts on the situation. Now we're going to start with Tom Pelissero. Tom Pelissero broke this earlier today. He put out a tweet that says the NFL just informed clubs that if a game cannot be rescheduled during the 18-week season in 2021 due to a COVID outbreak among unvaccinated players, the team with the outbreak will forfeit and be credited with the loss for playoff seeding per sources. Massive implications. Now it goes on further here, Tom Pelissero, which this is actually a really good job by him of getting this info and putting it out there in the public space. He says, here's more from today's memo, which also says the team responsible for a canceled game because of an outbreak among unvaccinated players or staff will be responsible for financial losses and subject to potential discipline from the commissioner. Wow. This is a massive step by the NFL. This is a massive step that they're taking to try and avoid having to rearrange or reschedule games because that does cost a lot of money. It says the league intends to play its entire 272 game schedule over 18 weeks. And this is key. We do not anticipate adding a 19th week to accommodate games that cannot be rescheduled within the current 18 weeks of the regular season. Play on time or don't play. Bold. Other key competitive aspects of today's memo: vaccinated individuals who test positive and are asymptomatic can return to duty after 2 negative tests 24 hours apart. Unvaccinated individuals still subject to mandatory 10-day isolated period. Every club is obligated under the Constitution and bylaws to have its team ready to play at the scheduled time and place. A failure to do so is deemed conduct detrimental. There is no right to postpone a game. That's an important thing that people, or players especially, got to understand. They're saying it now. There is no right to postpone a game. So they don't have to postpone or reschedule anything, is what they're saying. Would have played. So, I mean, they're making it very hard on the team who decides they're not going to, reach their vaccination threshold. For the purposes of playoff seeding, the forfeiting team will be credited with the loss, and the other team will be credited with the win. Wow. I mean, look, this is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, entity, conglomerate, the NFL. It does not surprise me one bit that the owners of these teams and their enforcer, Roger Goodell, are going to be unwilling to actually risk their yearly profits and revenues after taking about a $4 billion drop because of the pandemic last year. They just signed a new 10-year TV contract worth $100 billion. But this is drastic. This is them putting their foot down, really, and saying we're not going to allow another derailment where we're rearranging games because star players are infected. They're not going to let that happen. So, I mean, this does not surprise me. And it doesn't appear that the NFLPA has really kind of stepped in to actually try and balance the way that they're doing this, or maybe the NFLPA is fully aware and they agreed with it. I don't know. I don't have the details on that. But this is going to really come down to the players themselves. The players are going to have to make a decision right now. I mean, they're not saying that you can't play if you're unvaccinated. You know, that's not what's being said here. They're saying it is going to be much harder for you to play if you're not. Because if you get infected, you're done for 10 days. It doesn't matter if you're a star. It doesn't matter if you are, a first-year player. It doesn't matter if you're an undrafted free agent. You're down for 10 days. And if there are enough players on your team that are unvaccinated and are infected, that it actually like makes you a much weaker team where you've lost part of your starting roster, and they have to put in backups, then that's what's going to happen. They're not going to reschedule the game, and if they do have to reschedule because there are too many, then the team that has the infections is going to have to pay for that. I mean, because they said what the rules were. You got to get vaccinated. I mean, now take your personal beliefs out of this for a moment. If your job has a set of rules that they say, hey, look, we got these rules now. Like, we need you to do this. Your Players Association has agreed to it. It's not breaking any of the constitution or bylaws of our agreement. If you don't like the rule, are you going to still work there? That's your livelihood. So now they're making these players choose between the chance that you may cost your entire team their money, that's huge. That's huge. That's huge. You work too damn hard to be giving back money. You can take the risk if you're not willing to be vaccinated. You can take that risk. They're not saying you can't do that. They're just saying if something happens, you're on your own. Now, here's another part here. It says, we know the vaccines are safe and effective and are the best step anyone can take to be safe from the coronavirus. The vaccines continue to provide strong immunity against variants of the coronavirus, including the Delta variant. Even with recent increases, new cases remain far below the peak levels of earlier this year. Both the CDC and major hospital systems throughout the country have reported that 97% or more of the new cases and 97% or more of the new cases and virtually all hospitalizations are seen in unvaccinated individuals. While there have been breakthrough infections, cases where a vaccinated individual has been infected, those cases tend to be mild and people recover from the infection relatively quickly. Now, there is obviously star players in the NFL who are very upset with how this is playing out. One in particular is DeAndre Hopkins, the wide receiver from the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins came out on his Twitter and actually said, never thought I would say this, but being put in a position to hurt my team because I don't want to partake in the vaccine is making me question my future in the NFL. That's a very, very bold statement that's gotten a lot of attention. Very bold statement has gotten a lot of attention. People are, chiming in with their thoughts, with their opinions on this matter. And honestly, I can understand players, people, individuals who have their hesitancies about, getting the vaccine. I can understand the hesitancy. Look at the flu shot. People get the flu shot year in and year out. I have never in my life had a flu shot. I don't think I'll ever get a flu shot because I've never had the flu. I've never had the flu. I've never been sick for longer in my adult life, and even as far back as I can remember to being a little kid. I think I had like the regular things like chicken pox and, those things when I was little. I've had like a stomach virus before from, eating like way too much candy in one day and thrown up and, just those, kind of get sick for the moment type things. But I've never been sick, or I've never been like knocked out with some kind of sickness for any like period longer than like 24 hours. I can get where people are like, you know what, I'm healthy. I feel good. I don't want to get the vaccine. That's on you. That's your choice to make. But in this situation here, we're dealing with a private business, 32 different clubs who have decided that this is the rule they're going to put in place so that they can get through the season in a relatively streamlined fashion. If I was a player on a team last year where these games got shuffled around in multiple weeks, I mean, it's rough. It's really hard to get through mentally. It's a huge distraction. It's a huge dent in your mental fortitude. So If that happens multiple times for one team throughout the course of a season, I mean, if your team was doing good, by the end of that, they're going to turn into a wreck. It's going to hurt teams' abilities to stay consistent because they have to move their games around. I don't think anybody wants that. We all just want a streamlined, straightforward NFL season. People want to get back to normalcy. Well, shit. For the NFL, this is their path to getting there. So it's up to you. You get to decide whether it's going to be, because my feelings is I don't want to take the vaccine, or my feeling is I don't want to work in the NFL anymore. That's a possibility. So you got to think about that. But what do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think about this new rule from the NFL that they're enacting to boost and incentivize players into getting vaccinated. Make sure you hit the like button if you like this video, and subscribe to the Observant Lineman Uche Nwaneri. I'd appreciate that very much. But again, big news out of the NFL. Let me know what you guys think. I will catch you all on the next one.
I'm not, some sort of anti-vax flat earther. I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan. I've been taking feel pretty incredible. That is what the media has been trying to do. They're trying to shame and out and cancel all of us non-vaccinated people. It was such a witch hunt. The problem with this is it is so political. Health should not be political. Why do people hate it? Not just because Trump championed it. Trump endorsed, and so take that shit off. It doesn't work. I realize I'm in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now. The great MLK said that you have a moral obligation to object to unjust rules. I am somebody who's a critical thinker, so it was my opinion that wasn't rooted in any science.
What is your, we talked just a little bit about it before we started up the show. What is your take on the situation? Knowing what you know, having heard, what he said in August, and then now, and then on top of that, the shit he said on Pat McAfee's show.
I was getting
bruh.
I guarantee you he saw where that came from, and he's like, yep.
I think he believes he was right. I don't have a doubt in my mind that he believes he was right.
I think he thinks he was right too.
But
just because you think you're right does not mean
everyone else in the world knows
right.
he was being slick. Right, exactly.
Yeah, totally being slick. He was totally being slick. Anybody who says any different to try and defend Aaron Rodgers, you full of shit like he is. Because he was being slick. And, I actually had a good amount of time to really kind of think about this, giving myself the weekend to just let it kind of sink in, and then to see things and to get more info about what specifically he was talking about, and then what is actually proven science. And this is the shit that's crazy to me. Couple things. One, Aaron Rodgers is a narcissist. You can tell he's a narcissist because the entire time he tried to paint himself as the victim. The victim of what, bruh? What are you the victim of? There's nobody who was trying to make you anything. You're the one who said you were immunized.
Right.
And then when it comes that you caught COVID and you have been unvaccinated the whole time, which is a whole nother story because he's been going around without masks the entire time this season.
Shooting commercials,
up in people's faces,
right, going to all these parties, and
throwing John Wick parties at Halloween. Come on, dude, you lied. And then when you listen to what he said about why he, let me back up a second. Okay, when this motherfucker said this right here, I started laughing. I was like, you gotta be fucking, you out your goddamn mind. When he was like, I said I was immunized. And then he pivoted over to, now,
Had the media done their job and asked me a follow-up question, I would have answered with this. And I'm like, bitch,
with the running back, which you never want to do.
You would have answered with this. And then he started going off about how all this shit that you easily could have made up the day before and try to present it as that was your frame of mind then. Like, bruh, are you serious? Are you really thinking we're gonna buy that? You're insulting the entire world's intelligence. And look, we're pretty dumb. We're pretty dumb, not gonna lie. But we're not that fucking dumb.
I was born tonight.
I mean, most of us.
But not last night, motherfucker.
You know what I mean? Like this motherfucker start going into this, all this shit. I would have said that I had an allergy to the mRNA vaccines. So then that left the Johnson & Johnson. But the Johnson & Johnson got pulled because of blood clots, blood clotting issues, which is like, okay. Slow down, Aaron. One, which ingredient are you allergic to in the mRNA viruses or vaccines? Which ingredient are you allergic to?
This isn't the only vaccine that uses that technology.
Exactly. Now, on top of that,
those other vaccines too.
Exactly. On top of that, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was paused because of 6 cases out of 6.8 million doses administered.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. This motherfucker was literally on a hamster wheel, just running his feet, yapping his mouth, going on and on. I mean,
you're better off just saying nothing.
Bruh.
This is like some shit I would have did with my parents back when I was a little kid.
Bruh, be a leader and just say you ain't vaccinated. Like all the other quarterbacks and receivers who decided not to get it. Just say you ain't get it.
Didn't do it.
He was over here talking about, oh, there was a witch hunt. When a motherfucker, anytime somebody says witch hunt, I want to backhand their ass. It's like, bitch, ain't nobody worried about you.
He wasn't ready.
Not like that.
This is all you're doing.
I mean, come on. Look, this guy, Aaron Rodgers, and this is how I 100% feel about this. He's a coward. Why is he a coward? He's a coward because when he explained that there was a witch hunt going on players who weren't vaccinated, and he obviously, people were seeking out people to shame people for not being vaccinated, and I wanted to avoid that kind of attention on us. That means you were fucking scared. You didn't want people you didn't want to hear people talking bad about you. You were scared. You was being a little coward. You didn't want to have to deal with that. Hey, I'll tell you what, as much as I disagree with how Cole Beasley was handling this shit, I got respect for him for coming out and saying it.
Yeah.
I got respect for it.
Hey, this is me. This is what I think.
Kirk Cousins
left it at
came
that.
out and said it. He said, fuck it. Put me in a plexiglass box. He said, put me in a plexiglass box.
He said,
I ain't getting the shit.
I'm willing to die behind this.
I'm willing to die behind this. If I die, I die. That's what he said.
Well, damn. I can't even argue with that.
I can't even get mad at you, cuz.
This man willing to die.
He said, I'm gonna ride and die for mine.
I have to know how to fall.
These were men who had balls to stand in front of a podium in front of reporters who all were going to hammer him on this vaccination thing. They did it. They stood up there and they did it. And you know what? The ones who wanted to fucking dodge it, they just said, you know what? Personal thing. You can snicker at them all you want. But hey, what else are you gonna do? Well, you can't ask me no more questions.
Yeah.
So you had different avenues you could have taken that would have one, just provided you a short-term inconvenience. But no, the great Aaron Rodgers cannot be inconvenienced for a short period of time. Short-term inconvenience, maybe a couple of articles written about how you're anti-vax or whatever, but hey, that's for other people to say. If you're not, you're not. I don't have a look. I am vaccinated, but I'm not going to try and tell someone else that they must get vaccinated. If they don't want to get vaccinated, then don't get vaccinated.
Yeah.
But like the NFL said, you got a choice. You get vaccinated, this is what we got. If you don't, this is what we got. You can still play,
Tested every
still
day.
work, you can still get paid, everything, but you got to be on your P's and Q's.
You masked
We're
up
not
every
moving
day.
no games, motherfuckers.
Right. Yeah. You know what it is.
You know what it is. We ain't moving no games. You can play, ain't no issue if you're not vaccinated. But we ain't moving no games if you get sick, and you will miss a game if you do. At least one. So to me, he's a coward because only a coward gets up there and puts himself in a position to look for some kind of sympathy because you want to spin it as you're being attacked. Motherfucker, nobody said a word to you. You the one who said all this shit. And then you become you go completely off the fucking rails. I'm being chased by a woke mob. A woke motherfucker, nobody said nothing.
I think at some point he quoted MLK in all of this. I believe he quoted MLK at some point.
Oh, sweet
He
fucking Jesus.
He had a moral obligation
Oh my God,
to
I almost
defy
fucking forgot.
an unjust rule.
I almost forgot. This motherfucker.
As if, anti-vaxxers were being lynched or, denied access to fair housing practices or whipped and separated from their families.
You know what I mean? You motherfucker, Aaron Rodgers. Man, you know what? I was a fan of that motherfucker. Fuck him. He wanted to quote Martin Luther King. You want to compare? How could you ever in your life think that anything you're dealing with a fucking vaccination shot is in any way comparable to what Martin Luther King was talking about in that quote, especially in the context of that quote, which he said that quote from behind jail bars after getting arrested and beaten by cops for silent and peacefully protesting. You are a coward ass, bitch ass, wannabe fucking intellectual who doesn't really, you're not really with it, bro. And on top
there's
of that,
no danger. There is zero danger from taking his stance. People were laying down their lives.
Zero. People were walking into fucking war. Basically, they were walking into enemy territory.
And dogs sicked on them.
Dogs
hoses.
Getting kidnapped on their way back to their hotels and murdered and lynched.
That's just the stuff they'll tell us about.
Yeah, and then the shit we ain't never hear about on top of that. Hell, MLK his damn self. He was just woke up, he was just got done eating breakfast, and a motherfucker sniped him from across the way. So how in the world do you think you can ever compare yourself or even use a quote to apply to yourself as if you're being oppressed somehow? You're fucking making $30 million a year. Shut the fuck up. Like, seriously.
Yeah, this one blew me away.
These cats almost laughed. They was looking at him like, well, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. You motherfucker, Aaron Rodgers. Man, you know what? I was a fan of that motherfucker. Fuck him. He wanted to quote Martin Luther King. You want to compare? How could you ever in your life think that anything you're dealing with a fucking vaccination shot is in any way comparable to what Martin Luther King was talking about in that quote, especially in the context of that quote, which he said that quote from behind jail bars after getting arrested and beaten by cops for silent and peacefully protesting. You are a coward ass, bitch ass, wannabe fucking intellectual who doesn't really, you're not really with it, bro. Because you want to spin it as you're being attacked. Motherfucker, nobody said a word to you. You the one who said all this shit. And then you go completely off the fucking rails. I'm being chased by a woke mob. A woke motherfucker, nobody said nothing. Word to you. You the one who said all this shit. And then you go completely off the fucking rails. I'm being chased by a woke mob. A woke motherfucker, nobody said nothing. So you had different avenues you could have taken that would have one, just provided you a short-term inconvenience. But no, the great Aaron Rodgers cannot be inconvenienced for a short period of time. Short-term inconvenience, maybe a couple of articles written about how you're anti-vax or whatever, but hey, that's for other people to say. If you're not, you're not. I don't have look, I am vaccinated, but I'm not going to, you motherfucker, Aaron Rodgers. Man, you know what? I was a fan of that motherfucker. Fuck him. He wanted to quote Martin Luther King.